Welcome to One More. I'm your host, Brian Erickson. Each week we bring in two new guests. We sit them down on the couch and we contemplate the vast intricacies of the universe. And we also try and figure out why they do what they do. But first, and as always, we have two good guests for you this week. We have producer, engineer at Atlantic Records Studios and founder of Telegraph Hill Records, Joe Pomarico. And we have musician and host of the 25 O'Clock podcast, all the way from Philadelphia, Dan Drago. But now first, and as always, with skin softer than church music, Chris Dubrow.
Oh, you prepared for the intro today.
No,
There's no way you use the phrase "skin soft as church music" off the top of your head. And also,
Yeah,
where
dude.
did you get that from?
I don't know. I've heard that.
Who
People
said
say
that to you? What do you
It's a
hang out with
saying.
Mark Twain?
No, it's a saying.
It's so weird.
It's a saying.
How you doing,
dude.
Brian?
I'm
How
all
was your
right.
weekend?
It was good.
What'd you do?
I found out.
Talk to me.
I had a really interesting revelation this weekend.
What was your revelation, Brian
Okay, so
Erickson
I
of the
found
Paper
out.
Jets?
So, I've got this cat, right?
Yeah.
His name's Bowie. He's all white, and he's got the two different color eyes.
Yeah.
I always thought he was just like a weird cat. I found him scrounging around like a dumpster around where I used to live. Well, I didn't, as they say, I didn't find him. He found me.
Aw.
I found out, though, that he's like...
Keep going. I'm just going to narrate.
Thanks. No, so I found out, though, that he is a specific breed of cat. I didn't know cats had breeds, first off.
I've always known.
Except for, like, Siamese.
Yeah,
I just figured, like,
dogs
cats
have
were
breeds,
just...
Yeah.
But cats, I didn't really know. So I'm like,
Do you know what type
here's-
of breed?
It's called a cow many.
How many?
Yeah,
How many of them are there? Okay,
I
thank
thought
you so
about
much
that,
for
but-
tuning in. Have a good night.
But yeah, KHAOMANEE. That's how you spell it. It's from Thailand, though. That's a breed from Thailand, and they've only been in the United States for like 20 years.
Well, you found when you were living out in Thailand, right? When
yes.
you were a Russian roulette competitor in Thailand.
Yes,
I'm thinking
yes.
deer hunter.
When I was living in where's it sit?
Okay, don't come on. Don't ask me about the geography of Eastern Asia. That's just not gonna end well for anyone
So when I
involved.
was when I traversed Southeast Asia,
I have an image of you in the movie The Deer Hunter right now that's not going to leave my head for the rest of the night. Like while this is all going on,
I
I'm just
want
gonna
those
imagine.
like 3 hours and 20 minutes of my
That's a
life
long
back.
movie. Again,
A
our continuing
lot
our
of
trend of
movie.
talking about old movies
Yeah,
that no one
that
has seen in
nobody
20
has seen
years.
in a long time.
Dad, when's the last time you watched The Deer Hunter? Tuesday. Oh wow, Tuesday.
Wow.
6 days ago, ladies and gentlemen.
You had that kind of time.
you had 17 hours to spare for a, I'm sure, decent movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's one of the best movies of all time.
I don't know. I don't know if it holds up. You have very bad Rolling Stones takes. We found out right before we started filming.
How was the Burns show on
the
Friday?
Burns show was great. It was a great time. The Burns.
So you
the
guys
U-
released a record.
Yes,
though.
the Burns,
It's
the
called...
U EP. You can find it everywhere music is available. What were you gonna ask?
No, that you
I
guys
got
did
it,
good.
yeah.
I saw. I was there. I was at the show.
That was a very good show. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was
really
okay.
fun. Levy and the Oaks killed it. Rachel and Adopkin
Killed it. She's gonna be on the show.
I can't
Finally,
wait.
finally. We've
She
been wanting her on the
just-
show forever.
She just sent me the masters of the new album.
Is it any good?
Oh my god, no, it's terrible. No, it's,
Yeah, of
it's
course
the
it's
best thing.
amazing.
It's so good.
Avery
it's so
Mandeville
stupid
played
good.
too.
Hey, Ave. Yeah, I'm playing with Avery Friday night. I keep forgetting about that.
Oh, is that on your list of shows
I
that
think
you're gonna
so.
yell
We'll
about?
find
in a
out.
little
I'll
bit?
yell about it later. Yeah,
Nice.
it's gonna be a good time. Yeah,
How
no,
else
that was a really
your
fun
weekend,
show.
though? That was good though.
Yeah.
Like they did okay. Like the Lanes did right by you guys. and
Oh no, the
everything?
Lanes was amazing.
Yeah?
It's
Josh.
Josh.
Josh?
Both, there's two Joshes. There's Josh Ballard,
Ballard?
and then there's Josh, whose name I do not remember his last name. JD. So it's Josh D something. He was absolutely incredible. He was really wonderful. No, the Lanes did right by us. It was an amazing show. We got really, really lucky.
Well, congratulations, because
thank
that's
you
a
so
big
much.
that's a big deal. You guys and Levy both put records.
Yeah,
out.
no, we felt good. My banner was a huge success.
That was very.
You got the best picture of the banner of the night, by the way.
Did I
Yeah,
really?
I haven't seen. I told
Excuse
all
me.
my photographers to get a banner photo, and none of them did.
And you had actual professional, like our sometimes crew member Bart was there. We
Yeah.
had our buddy Matt Responti there. He's going to be a guest soon too.
Really, Responti?
Oh, yeah.
he's a good guy.
Yeah,
He's
he
good guy. Hey,
deserves
Responti,
to be
you're
a
a good
guest.
guy.
Yeah, he's fine. I saw him at Langosta Lounge. I was dining with my mother, and he came up to our table.
Was he eating the lobster mac and cheese?
No, he was setting up for a show.
Oh, okay.
I think at a yacht club next door. But no, he came up to the table, and he said, "You have a very nice son, Mrs. Erickson." And she's like, Shut up, you damn liar.
Yeah.
That's not my.
Speaking
not,
of damn
not my
liars, we bring
son.
on our first guest.
All right. He is a producer, engineer, and the founder of Telegraph Hill Records. Let's bring out Joe Pomarico.
Joe! That's the first hug I've done.
Ever? Like in your life?
In my life. That was big. You sit here, I'll sit over here and hang out.
Chris is going to lay down.
Yeah, more or less.
He's gonna just, all right.
I gotta hide what I'm drinking because we don't have sponsorship. I'll fix that.
Your mic, dude. Your mic.
I'm working on it. Well, you can keep going without me.
So how are you? Good to
Great.
see you. It's only been a few days. It's usually longer. Since,
I know. Well, I had to come back this weekend for that release show.
Yeah, no, I like this though. I prefer this. Like usually it's like a couple of weeks. We don't really see each other. It's only been a couple of days. Like, can we make that a more regular? Can we see each other like, maybe every few days instead of every few weeks?
You'll have to come visit me.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to. Is that an invite? Like the last time we did this on air.
Me and the rest of the band came.
Okay, well, I had a 1:30 a.m. train to catch, which is the last train before like 6 in the morning or something. Yeah. So like, I couldn't. I wanted to go, but the last time we did invites on air, Connor invited me to play that show. So like, if this is happening on air, I'll come visit.
Let me know when that happens. I'll come up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to get you there?
Well, no, I'm going to be unemployed soon, so I'm going to have more free time. Hey, if anyone needs to hire someone with no qualified skills, shoot me an email.
Well, he knows a lot about late career Weezer.
I'm going to get closer because I want to
particularly like the maladroit.
That's mid-career Weezer. Joe Pomarico, you have been making music in New Jersey. I'm trying to pick up where the interview left off.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I was gonna start with the Rascals, but like you wanna start with the Rascals? Or you want me to skip ahead?
It's your job, man.
So you've been working with you had worked with Gene Cornish, one of the 3 singers of the Rascals, for a number of years. Now, how transformative was that kind of early experience working for Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, one of those like rock and roll lifers?
Well, early on, I got to actually play with some of the Rascals guys in like a cover band. So that was like
play with Felix?
Not Felix, Eddie, and then Gene a little bit. But we got to like just play some cool shows and get some like experience like that. And that was to me like the biggest like value I got out of it right early on, and playing these cool venues. Like I got to play BB King's in the city. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. So
how old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was about a sophomore in high school. So.
Oh God, it's like 15.
Yep.
So what were you doing when you were 15, Chris? Not that.
I was being sad and listening to Weezer and the Mountain Goats.
You're still doing
changed. Yeah, nothing's changed. I think we just realized.
That
10 years on.
That checks out.
That all tracks, yeah. What were you doing when you were 15?
Me?
Yeah, coming at me.
Hey, get out of here. I'll ask a question.
Who's asking
I'll
questions
ask questions today.
We're at Palm. Do you want to ask a question real quick?
How about his question?
How about my question?
Whoa, what was I doing when I was 15?
Yeah,
I was collecting baseball cards.
Okay, there you go.
That's
all
what I
right.
was
We got to the bottom of that.
Yeah,
I didn't
You were
with the
play.
Rascals.
Yeah,
It was
he's
some
touring
good
with.
luck.
Hold on.
He's touring with Rock and Roll Hall of Famers.
What's your baseball team?
Yankees.
Oh, okay.
I grew up on Long Island.
We just
what do you
don't
want?
need to. We can cut that out, right?
Wait, you Mets? Mets?
Yeah.
That's fine. They're both. The Yankees just lost a whole bunch of games.
Last night was a
too,
great game for that. Ooh.
All right. We're not going there. we're here to talk about rock and roll here. So you're playing BB King's, and like what else? So you're 15 years old. You're a sophomore in high school. What's this? So how is this changing the direction of your life? Like how is this influencing like what you want to do with your life? Like what's this doing? Because like I said, usually people are collecting baseball cards or being sad and listening to crappy Weezer albums. Like you're doing this. What's going on in your head while you're doing all this?
Well, I was definitely starting to look towards colleges and stuff, and I ended up choosing to go into school for music up at Ramapo because it was kind of close to where that band was happening in North Jersey.
Yeah,
so
they're from like Garfield, right?
Yeah, Lincoln Park actually, and Garfield, so all around there.
Okay.
But I chose to go into music, and I decided to like really not just focus on performing aspect, really just have the business side of things, because that's kind of like what I wasn't getting out of that experience, and I saw that was like where they went wrong back in their day, and kind of it just I knew the value of going into music and knowing the business side of things from that experience, I think.
Yeah. I was gonna say too. What did they tell you? Any, did he kind of tell you any sort of like rock and roll stories or anything like that? Because they were around from. I mean, their heyday was only like 2 years, something like that, 3 years.
Yeah, it was
where they I know they kind of carried on through like the early '70s, but I mean, their big sort of hit making days were kind of short.
Yeah, right around the Summer of Love into '69.
Mm-hmm.
When they broke up in '70. Something that I learned from them was that they were like the same manager that was managing them actually brought the Beatles to America, Sid
Really?
Bernstein. So because of that, they were actually at Shea Stadium during that big concert,
wow.
and as a Met fan, that was kind of cool,
Yeah. Did they? No, they didn't play, did they?
They
Or
didn't
were
play
just
that
kinda there,
concert.
or-
What happened was there was a flash on the big billboard screen. The Rascals are coming, and Brian Epstein was like, "Get that off of there." And I said Bernstein was like, "Okay," but in a couple weeks they'll be playing here. So
Okay.
and they ended up playing there.
Oh, great. So now, in 2009, you founded Telegraph Hill Records. And for the description, it's as a means to represent and promote the musical interests of unique indie rock artists around the Jersey Shore, expanding on the legendary sound of Asbury Park. Has that always been the manifesto? Like, since then, did you always look to Asbury Park, even almost a decade ago?
I'd say it sort of refocused over the last handful of years towards Asbury Park, primarily because I was working with Matt Fernicola, who's been, my musical partner for ever since we played in his first band together.
Yeah,
Category
you guys are
5.
like childhood
What was the
friends.
name of that band?
Category 5.
Category
Shout out
5.
Mrs. Fern.
Wait, was that the one where they made like the shirts?
We didn't have any merch.
What was the
We
shirt
were
band? I'll ask
not
for
at all that
another time.
legit.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry.
But yeah, so I went from playing with, working with Fern, and he went up to Boston at Berklee College
Berkeley,
of
yeah.
Music, and I was really focused on like working with the musicians up there and his bands, and specifically Aracuda.
Yeah. You
Originally
managed them for a
Westland
bit.
Walls. Yeah, I became their manager after working with them in the studio all the time and managing their lives to get a
Now-
record done.
Now, in terms of Telegraph Hill, now I was, kind of doing some reading up about them, and we've had a few Telegraph Hill artists already. We've had Fern, we've had Avery, we've had Levy and the Oaks. And Aracuda, you kind of list as a sort of legacy artist.
Yeah.
Why is that important to you when you have a number of artists that, Avery put out a record not even a month ago. The Burns and Levy just put a record out a few days ago. Fern's records, I think, just finished recording like this past weekend, so that's on the way soon.
One day,
it'll
one
be-
song at a time.
One day it'll be done.
Okay.
Bike song's completely tracked.
Betty
That's
you up.
everyone's favorite.
What's that? Oh, Bikes.
Bike
That's
song,
a
yeah.
good. That's a good.
Betty
He
song.
got
you
a
up.
video coming out at the end of the month, hopefully. So.
Okay, but I guess the point is though that's already well underway. There's some singles, there's some videos already. Like that album is starting to kind of like make its way out. So
Right.
why? I don't want to say why does Aracuda deserve a place, but why worry about that when they haven't been a proper band for 2 years? When you've got all these other really great artists doing good stuff.
Well, to me, the music that we record on the Daydreaming EP is very much like a portfolio of like what I've able to do when we spend our time like working with a couple of those guys, Matt Mengis, Eddie Ruddick, and Matt Fernicola, Roland Greco, and Phil Marflack, Owen Flanagan,
Yeah.
Aaron Kessler, all these people that like they're the basis of how I've started to build all of this. And
Yeah.
now as everyone's kind of gone off and done their own things, they still want to have something that if anything were to happen, they could come back to it,
okay.
and also like the message of the record is something that like resonates pretty deeply with me. And
what's that?
just daydreaming. It's really easy to get lost in what you're doing and focusing on the day to day. It's important for me at least to really like keep your head like to the not to the clouds, but like keep that target really high of how far you can go with things. Really don't keep yourself in like you sell yourself short, and if you're not like really shooting for the stars, you get sell for the clouds.
Now, speaking of that, let's say having lofty goals, right? This past Friday, I mean, Chris, we talked about it a little bit in our intro. you guys had a big release show at Asbury Lanes. Levy and the Oaks released an EP. The Burns released an EP. And Avery Mandeville opened, and she just released a record not even a month ago. So, I mean, I was there, and the place was packed. What were some of the concerns going to that before we kind of get into like, how big of a triumph that night turned out to be? Well, like, what were some of your concerns as a person whose name is kind of out there, but not like you're not on stage, but your fingerprints are all over that. So what were some of your concerns going into an event like that?
Well, specifically, we were focused on making the whole record, putting it all together, and convincing Avery to keep the songs that were on it together. She was really trying to like, oh, I don't know if I want to put that song on it and this song, and just really like getting the record done was a big part.
Okay.
Of
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, besides Levy had it done.
Yeah, they were done months ago.
Yeah, they're like
but-
old pros at this point.
Literally last week when we were maybe 2 weeks ago when we were filming OneMore. No, it was last week. We did not have the final masters uploaded
Yes.
to level.
Yeah.
And Pom and I were emailing the entirety of the show last week. So that was part of the struggle there.
Yeah, but I knew it was going to be, we had enough time to get it down a couple of days in advance before the show to get it onto Spotify and all the streaming spots.
Okay. And you did it.
Yeah.
Like they're all there.
Tuesday we submitted it. Avery's record, we were like, oh, is it on at midnight?
Yeah.
It took like 12:30. It was there, you know?
Okay,
I
but
think-
it's midnight-ish.
Yeah.
I remember getting that text at like 12:15 a.m. I think it was either you or Hendo. It was just a picture of the album on Spotify, and we all fell asleep afterwards because we were just up waiting to see.
That it finally got there.
I actually listened through just to make sure it was.
That everything was legit.
Let's just hope, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at that point. It's like, well, it's gonna be up no matter what.
I didn't submit one of Chris's voice memos instead.
Oh God, that would have been the
Just me
worst.
screaming.
Actually, no, that would have been the best. You think
That
that
would've
would
been
have
a
like
bunch.
Would've
gotten
been
more
hilarious.
streams?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I would have finally gotten songwriting credits on a Burns album.
So, what was your role in that event?
I helped Avery promote a little bit with the record, getting it onto some like streaming platforms, and really like using that to raise more awareness for the show that was happening,
Okay.
and just kind of basic stress reliever for Avery. Any kind of like concern, she was like calling me up the night before, worrying about the set list and stuff. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
So now it's the night of the show. Everything's getting started. You're kind of down in the pit watching your essentially, your bands, these people you're representing, just like kill it up there. What's going through your mind?
I was really impressed with the whole lineup that night, actually. Every band just fit the bill so well to go along with Avery's music. It wasn't just like, Avery's band was great. It was all about her that night because of the record, but all these bands crushed, and you're like walking away. Like, I got to go listen to this music. I got to go listen to Julian Fulton, Lowlight, like all the people that played that night. I was, streaming their music the rest
I
of the
meant
weekend.
The Asbury Lanes, like
Oh,
this
this
release
weekend.
show also. Well, but I mean, two release shows close to one another, still relevant. But
Yeah.
um,
This one, I was helping out. Actually, I got my cousin to come help me with the merch, and kind of just one of our first events where he's kind of stepping up to be involved, and I'm kind of like trying to get the whole family in. And then I actually ended up going over to the Asbury Hotel because it's one of the greatest things about
Yeah.
Asbury is you can go see all these different events.
that was
in this little
Ashley
area.
McKinley's last show before she
Ashley's
heads
last
to
show.
Nashville. Dave Mooney's first show back from
Yep.
his little tour of Europe and stuff.
And
so
actually, Bobby Mahoney,
Yeah.
who weekend previously we had just cut a track together in the studio. So I was really like going to support him and see really how he could play the song live.
Oh,
First
awesome.
time, and he did it. Gave a shout out to us.
Excellent. So now, there's this kind of balancing act happening in the scene right now, where a lot of money is being put into places like Asbury Lanes, but they're still allowing local artists to play there. What was the venue's reaction to the show? The Burns and Levy release show. How'd you guys do?
Well, I think we had about like 300 people come out throughout the night, and I'm sure that was pretty successful for them, to have such a local level show, but you still get to fill out. The place was packed,
Yeah.
and everyone was singing along. So
Oh, that's excellent.
They must have loved it, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, from kind of way back where I was, like it was the energy was like palpable. It was a great show, and you guys should be really proud.
Definitely.
Now, what kind of structure? I want to take it back to the label too. Is what kind of structure did you feel needed to be in place before you started kind of taking the label around? Because like we said before, it's been almost a decade, but you kind of had to sort of wait and find the right people before you started really putting it out there. So what had to be in place first, in addition to like the artists?
I would say, for the past decade, it's mostly been focusing on recording and production, and working with some of the bands. And now, as we've seen more need to help these artists that we're working with get the music played and not just like record it and whatever they do with it. So over the last couple of years, we've really been trying to figure out how we can help these artists with some marketing for it.
Yeah, and there's like a little bit of a management structure now also, right?
Yes. We're working with Kevin Kale Martin.
Yeah.
He's started 3143 Management, so he's managing the Burns, Mercury Brothers, Weird Ghost Now, and Dave Mooney, I believe.
Oh, nice.
So those are some bands that hopefully we're gonna start doing some tracking with in the future.
That's great too, because the Burns and We're Ghosts Now both are playing that show with Cake and Ben Folds.
Yeah,
so already like starting to kind of get that those higher profile.
Everyone's sort of playing shows together, and it's a real big family down here in Asbury. And all the artists, people are playing in different bands with one another, and sometimes you see people hitting the road. So we're really trying to like build that community aspect together, because you don't want people, you see a dual release show, people are like making note of two bands putting out a music. And it's way more noticeable to people outside of just the scene that know the bands locally and on a day-to-day basis. So
great, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
It's been our pleasure. Thanks. And you're gonna play some music for us in a little bit, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Wait.
All right, we bringing out Dan?
It's your show.
Right, well, it's Matt's show, so.
Nah, we're bringing out Dan.
Yeah. Now, Dan, he is the host of the 25 O'Clock podcast and a member of a great indie rock band called the Monroes. Let's bring out Dan Drago. If he's.
I think we gave him a little bit more of an obstacle course. How's it going?
Yeah, hey, man.
What are you gonna say, brother?
Good to see you.
That was. Oh wow. Oh, this is deep.
Yeah, it's a deep
Yeah,
couch.
it's a deep couch.
If I nod off, just hit me with the microphone.
That's fine. Chris does that. Chris is going to do that anyway.
I've been in and out.
So how's it going, man? You look good.
I'm glad. I sat in the dark off to the side after having drank half a beer, just starting to be like, all right, you have to rally. You gotta make this happen.
That sounds about right.
That sounds like every single show
Every
I've
show,
ever done.
yeah.
That sounds like every moment of my life where I'm in a club or something
Yeah,
like that, and I'm just like, all right, you have to rally. You have to talk
My
to
whole
people.
life, I've been rallying my whole
Yes, me too.
life. Like, cause I've always been, even when I was a kid, like I was the one that fell asleep at like 9:30. Like you take me to a party, I fall asleep. Like that's it. I can't. In order to do anything, in order to go to Chris's show where they're playing loud rock music, I had to rally. To get there.
I used to be a night owl.
Red Bulls? Come on.
I used to be a night owl. Like I used to be like,
What happened, man?
like, I can't go to sleep before 1 or 2 in the morning. I got old.
Yeah.
Now it's like it'll be a battle sometimes. Like 9:30. It's too early to call it. And I'm like, no, we're calling it.
Wow.
Can I tell you, I'm starting to hit that because I'm getting to that, and now I'm like, if I'm not in bed by 10 on a Monday, I'm grumpy. It's interesting.
It's like
I used to be up till like 4 a.m. every day.
I could hit it, and then I used to play weekday gigs in New York City, like on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
And you drive all the way back down to Philadelphia.
Get to my house at 4:30 in the morning. Sleep sitting up in my chair in my living room, because if you sleep in the bed, it's over.
Yeah.
And 2 hours up, boom, out to work.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
And
now,
it's totally fine.
That would wreck me for a month right now. I would just be completely useless as a human being for forever.
I'm sorry to hear that. So this morning you made a post on Facebook that mentioned you and me talking animatedly to one another as that which we do best.
It's what we do.
That is not a question. That is a statement of agreement. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You figured it out before you even got here.
Yeah, that's it. Like
You didn't
that's,
mention talking over each other, but you basically.
Oh no, that's all part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
well, we don't really. I guess I did
I
just
mean,
talk
you know,
over the
yeah,
boat. I believe
That was well done, boys.
Jokes.
So yeah, we got jokes. We got jokes. This is so let's start. Are you okay?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
This is highly surreal. Everything going. If you could experience this from my spot right now, it's just.
I
Like,
wish I could like exit my own body. And
I don't do
watch
drugs anymore, but
as
this
an
is what
audience
drugs was like.
What drugs did you used to do?
Oh,
Let's
we.
talk.
Yeah,
Who's your guy?
My God, I wouldn't.
You got to go to Mario. He's on 4th.
I wouldn't even know how to find drugs anymore now. Like I would
Really?
have no idea.
Ask literally anyone.
Ask literally anyone.
I mean, in Asbury Park,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone here have drugs? Raise your hands.
I'm good. Like I said, I'm too old and I'll fall asleep before I do them anyway. So you know.
Okay, well, that thusly defeating them.
Yeah, it's you just basically throwing money away, and there are a lot more adult ways to throw money away than drugs I won't do,
like music gear and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
recording equipment.
or weird stuff I buy on Amazon or eBay
Like
in
what?
the middle of the night. I bought like a year after I quit being in a touring band, I bought like a full-on like semi-hollow body guitar, really nice, a Fender Starcaster.
Oh, I
don't-
love those guitars. Those are great.
I have played that.
Starcaster.
I have played that out once.
Well, I guess maybe the secret is to get it while you're in the touring band.
I
right?
just
To
afterwards
not-
I just needed I quit smoking like maybe 4 or 5 months before, and I just needed something that made me feel better
You
about
know,
being alive.
When I quit smoking
What
in
did you buy?
January, I bought so much random stuff on Amazon. It's so weird that like online shopping.
It's the one. It's you're removing one compulsion.
Yeah,
you're just
it's like-
you're just firing the dopamine in your
yeah,
brain
it's
right
just like
there. and
gotta
it doesn't
buy
matter.
this random sweater. I bought a sweater on
Nicotine
Amazon.
sweaters, just
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
I bought an
Yeah.
Amazon sweater that my girlfriend saw me wear it once and demanded I take it off immediately and put it in.
It's not even about the
Wow.
swetter. It's the act of clicking
It's
the
the
button and being like,
click.
"Oh, this is gonna work. This is
But
gonna
it's
work."
not.
And it
I
won't
do that.
work.
I do that with guitar pedals though.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
a bad. That's a bad. I just
Yeah.
got. I spent $210 on one pedal.
I would do it. Yeah.
Brian's got $210 on pedal kind of money, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that was just on payday.
Oh well, on payday, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
no. Verizon's not getting its money this month.
Dan,
We're
let's
gonna-
talk about your music.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you said you were.
I
want
want to talk about how Verizon's getting ripped off by Brian, man. That's
No,
awful.
Verizon. That's
Yeah, let's take Brian
not
down
taking- we're
for
not
the sake of
taking-
Verizon.
no. Verizon
right.
already got their money actually. So they always get their money.
That's how it works.
So you were in a touring band,
I was in a band called The Way Home. It had many names at one point or another.
but it was you and kind of the same
It was-
collaborator for
it
a
was
long
my
time.
it was myself and like my sort of like childhood best friend James Hearn. We wrote together, played together since we were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Philadelphia kind of because we thought, well, hey,
You're
what
from
would
kind of like Western New York.
I'm
right?
from Rochester, New York originally.
That's like kind of a weird hotbed. Like that's
it? Is where who?
Gene Cornish.
No,
and Rascals
the
is from.
aforementioned Gene
Oh, I did not know
Cornish
that.
from the
So you were
Rascals.
into some good loving.
I mean, like Cab Calloway's from Rochester. Lou Graham, I believe, is also
Bruce
from
Springsteen.
Rochester.
Isn't Lucille Ball from up there
She's
too?
from Jamestown, which is south of Buffalo if you're going towards Erie, PA.
Let's
like
do the
that
whole
part.
thing, man.
I can do it, yeah.
I just Erie, PA. I watched that series on Netflix about the killer, the pizza bomber.
Oh, is that in
Erie,
Erie?
Pennsylvania. That was
Yeah, I guess
Erie,
it was,
guys.
Oh gosh. I was about to say I wish there was some other claim to fame for Erie, PA, but there isn't.
No,
So
there
that's,
totally
that's,
isn't.
That's
It's
what you
that
got.
lady in the pizza bombing.
That's what you get, Erie, PA.
So you had like you got Cab Calloway and
And
Dan
Lou Graham.
Drago
And Lou Graham.
and Lou Graham and
Who's
Gene
Lou
Cornish.
Graham? I'm
But-
sorry.
Foreigner, dude. He's
Oh,
a guy.
He's
of
a
course,
guy.
yeah.
All right, the adults are going to have a conversation.
Okay, I'll be over here.
Oh wow.
I'll be over here lamenting late period Weezer.
Late mid-period Weezer. Argue about your Weezer, man. We're going to talk about Lou Graham.
We're not going to talk about Lou Graham.
bro.
Dan, we're not talking about Lou
No,
Graham.
we're not.
So okay, so you're from Western New York. You're in this band with your childhood best friend.
Yep.
Is that like the goal? Is that you guys are touring around? Is this Is
Yeah.
this the end game? You know,
and when
wanna
I
be a
say
musician.
touring, I want in no way for it to be misunderstood that we were making any money at all.
no.
Like
That is what
absolutely
touring
not.
That's what touring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who ever told me, like, oh, well, you know how a band makes money is touring. Like, I don't know. Maybe we were doing it wrong.
No, well, like we
or-
have friends that have
Yeah.
gone on real tour, like Lowlight
Yeah.
goes on real. They don't make
Never
any
heard of
money.
them.
Nobody makes money. Yeah. Like,
But like I keep hearing, because no one buys records anymore, that like the only way you're going to make money is by playing live, but you don't even seem to make money doing
No.
that anymore. So really, we just need to remove money from the equation and just like, just
you like Star Trek,
like start. Yes,
right?
where music just comes out of the wall.
Yeah, and they just do it to better themselves.
Yeah.
As a society.
All the music on Star Trek Next Gen, like all the future music, is the worst music
The
imaginable.
future music. Oh man, can we please do a 3-piece electronica band just called Future Music?
no.
Yeah.
Dan, no.
Dan's
No.
into
I mean,
it.
I can make it happen. Yeah.
I can also make. I'll commute to Philly for this.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna be unemployed soon. Seriously.
There
I'm
we go.
unqualified.
He's got time. All right. But no, we were touring around, trying to make it happen. We putting out records, playing Philly, kind of hitting that what I call the good old I-95 corridor.
Okay,
Which is
yeah.
Boston, Providence, all the way down to D.C. and
Yep.
points south. You kind of just hit that back and forth. You play New York. You can do Baltimore. I loved playing Baltimore.
Baltimore's nice.
And we
Community center.
little
Yeah, community center
Yeah.
from Baltimore.
little
Great band.
spots in Jersey here and there. I can't remember. We used to play.
Never
a,
got down to Asbury?
You
in
know,
that time?
Asbury wasn't really happening.
When was this?
We were like the height of the touring was probably between like 2010 and 2013. So even if it was, and which is not to say that like nothing cool was happening in Asbury at the time, but
I think
it
I played the Pony in 2013.
it
Yeah.
wasn't.
once.
There
Yeah, like
didn't
that kind of
seem
thing.
to be.
Starting to
Yeah,
come
there didn't
back.
seem to be a lot of venues that would take a band like us at the level that we were. So we didn't really, look into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that for a while, and then around 2013, I just decided. I mean, I was at that point I was 33, and it wasn't that I didn't love it, and it wasn't that I didn't get a bang out of it, but you can only beat your head against that particular brick wall for so long before your head hurts, and you want to stop.
Bear that in mind, Chris. So you're basically like you're riding the carousel. Like you're sending out invites, you're come to this show, come
Yeah.
to that show. Like you're grinding. Like,
Yeah.
just like, like everybody else.
And we're looking into like kind of taking stuff to the next level, playing wise, record wise, promotion wise.
And what so you're looking to take things to the next level. Like what happened? Like just
It
no
just- it
good,
just-
nobody
it's-
no bites.
It's one of the saddest things about the music, about sort of the regional music world, is you can do everything absolutely correctly, and not even just regional music world in general. You can do everything absolutely correctly, do things the way you're supposed to do, play the right shows, meet the right people, make the right kind of record, be that certain style of thing at the right time in the place, and wear the hat the right way, and you can still fail miserably.
Yes.
And it's not your fault. That's sort of the caveat right there, is that you can do everything right, still fail, and you're fine. Like there's nothing you could have done differently.
Yeah, I've heard some of your
Yeah.
records. It's good stuff.
Yeah. And somewhere around my early 30s, that got driven home to me, and then I kind of stopped caring about whether or not, I could make a living being a musician. I wouldn't say I gave up. I was like, that's not what it's going to be about
Well,
anymore.
Have you ever seen the movie Inside Llewellyn Davis?
No. It seems like it would depress the living hell
It's
out of
really
me,
it's
so.
but it's because it's weird.
That's
it has,
Poe Dameron, right?
Yeah,
the guy.
it's Poe.
Yeah,
It's-
Poe Dameron.
But it has a very kind of at the core of the movie is a very simple message, which is you can be very, very, very good.
You could be so talented.
But in the end, you're not Bob Dylan.
No.
Like I love that notion of like be as talented, do your best, but like
Yeah.
sometimes like there's
Yeah.
you're not Bob.
Yeah.
And the idea of a Bob Dylan being successful even 10 or 12 years after the time that he was,
No
it probably
way.
wouldn't happen. Can you imagine a Bob Dylan now? We wouldn't pay any attention to him at all.
Well, yeah, his name is John Darnielle.
Come on, why you gotta do that to
That's
no,
me? Why you gotta call us out
man.
in guts?
John Darnielle is
The
he's
best-
he's
the
a whole
best
other
living-
thing
he's
right
the
there,
best living
man.
songwriter.
well, he's great. That's what I mean. He's great, but he's not nearly like the heights
It's
of
true.
a Bob Dylan. That's
see
what
what
I'm
you're
saying
saying.
in a good way. Like,
Oh, in a good
he's
way, okay.
excellent,
You're
and
not
yeah,
picking
he
on
may
John
be
Darnielle.
the best
Okay.
living songwriter. Or the best. Well, I mean, Bob
Best
Dylan is still
lyricist.
alive. Okay,
Best
so he might
lyricist
be
is still
like
working, yeah.
of a particular generation,
Yeah.
the best songwriter. So but he is not nearly like as successful,
Yeah.
and nor will he ever be as successful as like a Bob Dylan.
Yeah. And it always comes down to that, like in terms of how to be a smaller band. It's like sometimes you got to accept that. And I like that notion of like you did everything you could.
We did everything we could.
You had a
Couldn't
great
have done
time,
anything
right?
different, or weren't prepared to do anything different. That's another thing. And I was like, all right, cool. Like it was a bummer to kind of get off that ride because I spent a good 10, 12 years of my adult life at that point with sort of one goal in mind, and everything else you do in your life, the kind of jobs you get, the kind of places you live, sort of
you
feed
build your life around
feed
it.
that thing.
Yeah.
And then when you're not doing it anymore, you kind of sit there and you're just like, crap. Well, what do I do now? It's like it's like a breakup. It
Well,
really is.
you kind of transitioned into being a host, being a
Well,
podcast host.
so when I kind of got off the road. It sounds like I was grinding it out, 6-8 months out of the year. That's not at all what I was doing. But I sort of hung it up in that way and kind of kicked around a bit, made some records for people, kind of did the mobile engineer thing for a while, made some really interesting records in some really wild places that kind of setting up studios and rooms and areas that, weren't musical spaces, things like that. And I had a lot of fun doing that. I helped run a live concert series out of an old church sanctuary in Philly just for fun, just to get some of my friends' weirdo bands in front of people.
Nice.
Not, again, no money, just being like, hey, let's see if we can just hang out together. And then I started doing a podcast out of a way just to sort of stay relevant in a music scene that's always changing. There's always new acts and stuff like that. I wasn't going to form a band, but I was like, I still want to hang out with these people. I still want to go to shows.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you too. So how close do you feel? Like, was there a need to still feel connected to the scene in some way now that you were removed from it in a sort of regular way? Like you're not grinding anymore now.
Absolutely.
You still need to feel like you're part of it.
Yeah. And not in a way where I needed anyone to notice me. I just wanted to be part of it. Like, and it was actually kind of fun to be on the other side of it and just be like, I'm just going to show up. I'm going to support my friends and and then I'm going to go home and I'm not going to worry about records or, gigs or how many people did we bring and blah, blah, blah.
Is that like, did you find a sort of strange relief in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because you're still part of it. Now, do people seek you out? Like when a band is releasing a record, they say, "Oh yeah, you got to go on 25 o'clock."
Sometimes I get emails. I get solicited from people, and it's fun when I get solicited from bands and people that I don't know. Like it's one thing.
That's the best.
It's one thing when I have my friends on, and it's one thing when I have friends of friends or people that I've kind of met around. It's really great to like get hit up by bands. I'm just like, oh, I know who that band is, but I don't know them personally. It's like, cool. I must be relevant to at least some sort of demographic in one way or another. And that's always nice. And then it's fun to have people over to the house I've never met before. And just, we go downstairs, we have a conversation. It's a way to meet people while still like being in your 30s at a time where it's really hard to like make new friends.
Yeah, well, that's how we met.
Yeah,
you were a guest on my own podcast.
Yeah,
and
then you came down and did a show with
and
me.
did one,
Went back and forth.
Yeah, and so do you find that doing this and maintaining that connection to the Philly scene, do you find that is a way to sort of age gracefully as the scene continues to change?
Yeah, I think so. I still get to have a foot in it, but I get to engage with it on sort of my terms too.
Well, yeah, because I always find you to be, I kind of find it almost foreign to me for, because we've known each other for what, 2 years, 3 years, something like that. So I find it strange to envision you as the guy that's like making the posts or, long ago hanging up flyers like, come to my show, look at me. Whereas I find you to be more sort of, I consider you to be a sort of naturally curious person. Like, no, don't come see me. I want to talk about you, kind of. Like, that's how I sort of frame you in my mind.
I mean, I was never a particularly good self-promoter while I was a musician in a band. It was never my strong suit. It was the aspect of that grind in a band that I hated the most. I like to play. I like to make records. I like to play shows. I like to write music and think about music and all that. But when it came to all the other, all the other stuff that you have to be good at to be successful, I wanted nothing to do with it.
But you haven't stopped making music entirely. This will be the last question for you, or the last like talking point. Because we haven't really asked that many questions. But you've made a record, or you kind of have a band with your brother called the Monroes.
Yeah.
And it kind of started out of this silly concept of using a 12-string electric guitar, and then turned itself into a really good EP.
What it started out like the short version of how the Monroes came to be, and that kind of helped sort of kickstart myself just as a songwriter in my own right for whatever that is, whether I play out or don't play out. That's a whole other thing right there. But it started out, it was myself, my brother, my old collaborator, James Hearn, and this young drummer from Rochester named Jake Walsh, who we all knew each other through my brother in his studio out there. James was finishing up a record, kind of having a rough time, kind of pushing out that last 10% of a record, kind of driving him nuts, making him kind of hate all of it. So I said, come out to my brother's. We'll all just write songs together, hang out, drink, eat some food, and just enjoy making music together in the way that we like to do.
Yeah.
And I threw out the posit of like, all the songs have to be power pop, whatever that is to you. And power pop is a large genre that can really encompass a whole number of bands. So
Cheap Trick could be Todd Rundgren, for all we know.
Yeah, it could be early Todd Rundgren, absolutely. And that was and that's what we did. We made a 4-song EP in about 36 hours, and put it out about a year later because I didn't want to step on the toes of friends with like real releases to put out. And actually, we're gonna go back in the fall and hit out some more tunes. So that'll be fun.
Excellent, and we're gonna hear you play a couple songs.
I will do that. Yes.
Excellent. Well, Dan, thank you. This has
been. You.
I feel like we could just have a whole 2-hour sit down. So we got to cut it. We should have been cutting this like 10 minutes ago.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you. I can't wait to hear you.
Thanks.
This week's episode of One More is brought to you by the Asbury Park Music Foundation. APMF, or MPF, raises money to support youth music programs throughout Asbury Park that provide lasting skills, self-confidence, relationships, and life-changing experiences for kids, which can contribute to future success. I could use all of those. MPF, the APMF's free summer concert series, brings communities together through the power of music. Music Mondays at Springwood Park brings the past and present together to showcase what Asbury has to offer, including Brian Erickson and myself. Good God.
Drink up.
It's so dense. They host the Asbury Park Concert Band, which is in its 73rd year of shows on the boardwalk. Asbury Park Live puts a spotlight on emerging bands from all over New Jersey. If you're interested in keeping Asbury Park's legacy of music alive by making a meaningful difference for the underserved youth in our community, I'm so sorry I messed it up, head to AsburyParkMusicLives.org to make a donation. And while you're there, pick up a Music Saved Asbury Park t-shirt. All proceeds make it possible to support Music Saved My Life youth programs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Drago!
When I talked about the band The Monroes, this was the tune that I brought to the table, and kind of, I'd always written songs, but this was a song kind of jump-started. I guess if I were to look back at my life 20 years from now, I would call it the second wave of writing songs. So this song is called Stumbling in the Dark. It follows the whole power pop thing. It was basically my way of trying to be Nick Lowe, and, with medium success. You can find a band version of this song on the Monroes on Spotify and all the digital places. That's enough of that. All right, let's see. I'm lost, so lost, don't know how I got so far off track. And I'm here, and you're there, and the distance is oh so far away. Was it me? Was it you? Did I forget for a moment everything that I knew? I don't know. I don't know what the right way looks like. Stumbling in the dark just to find you. Stumbling in the dark just to get where I belong. Stumbling in the dark, just trying to find the right way to you. To the left, to the right, everywhere that I turn leads me back to the start. 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Do I follow a map or follow my heart? Everywhere it takes me somewhere else. It's nowhere. I wanna go. I'm so tired of being alone. I need to find my way home. Oh, 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 stumbling in the dark just to find you. Stumbling in the dark just to get where I belong. Stumbling in the dark, just trying to find the right way to you. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I can see it, it's right up ahead. It's the light in the tunnel, it's the right way round. I'll never stay away so long. I'll never leave you, never again will I stumble in the dark just to find you. Stumbling in the dark just to get where I belong. Stumbling in the dark, just trying to find the right way to you. Stumbling in the dark just to find you. Stumbling in the dark just to get where I belong. Stumbling in the dark, just trying to find the right way to you. You want to do another one? One more, yeah. All right. Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
This one I wrote with the idea. There's that old, I don't know, it's like a 50s or 60s pop tune with the line, when I fall in love, it'll be forever. It's a famous sweeping tune. And I reworded that in my head about the idea of instead of when I fall in love, it's when you fall apart, it will be forever. It was a weird phrase I had in my head, and I thought, like, can we write a song about this? And the answer is maybe. Anyway, this song is called Won't You Let Me Fall Apart Tonight. I just recorded a version of it like this last weekend at a buddy of mine's home studio. It was fun. Who knows what I'll end up doing with it, but here it is. Yes, I'm glad you all thought that was funny. All it takes is a little push, a slight variation to knock me off balance. All it takes is a small misunderstanding to set me off orbit, to lose my head when I fall apart. Don't put me back together when I fall apart. It's gonna make things better, I swear, when I fall apart. It's gonna be forever, yeah. Won't you let me fall apart tonight? Thinking about how I keep getting older. Thinking about all my friends and where they are. Thinking about how I'm a great big cluster of nerves. Thinking about you and me. when I fall apart. Don't put me back together when I fall apart. It's gonna make things better, I swear, when I fall apart. It's gonna be forever, yeah. Won't you let me fall apart tonight? The Leaning Tower wasn't famous till it faltered, till it fell. The city of Chicago burned to the ground. The San Francisco earthquake left everything in shambles. What's the worst thing that could happen now? When I fall apart, don't put me back together. When I fall apart, it's gonna make things better, I swear. When I fall apart, it's gonna be forever, yeah. And won't you let me fall apart? Won't you let me fall apart? Won't you let me fall apart tonight? Tonight. 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 Thank you.
All right. This week in events, Tuesday, August 7th, the Vlasic Classic at the Chubby Pickle. That's the open mic hosted by Cranston Dean. It's the Chubby Pickle. They got alcohol. Wednesday, August 8th, Leeds and the Do-Rights, First Avenue Green Space on the Asbury Park Boardwalk at 7 p.m. Devin Alana, love you, Devin. She's at the Asbury Hotel at 8 p.m. Can't wait to hear Scout. Thursday, August 9th, Leading Ladies Night featuring Skyline, Olivia Beck, Village Green, Brian Wood is at the Saint at 7:30. Leading Ladies Night featuring Brian Wood. I love it. Durai, Red House, Blue House at Barker City in New Brunswick at 8:30 p.m. And Marguerite King, my witch queen of Little Vicious at CBGB's at Newark Airport as part of the Asbury Park Music Foundation and Tito Vodka's Summer Concert Series. Marguerite's going to be at the airport. It's going to be great. Friday, August 10th, Pepper Wine is doing their album release at the rooftop of the Asbury Hotel. That sounds wonderful. Pepper Wine. Yeah. And Arlen, it was Arlen Files. I'll never get it right. Arlen, come on the show. He's great. Come on the show and break it down for me. And JT Bowener, CBGB's in Newark Airport at 5 p.m. If you're in Newark Airport, stop on by. Algebra 2, Handsome Crew, ready now in Milk Manor at the AP Brewery at 7 p.m. Afraid Brigade, my favorite band in New Jersey. Kate Dressed Up, Love You Kate, Candace Strippers, and the one, the only Joe Galooper at the Scarlet Pub at 8 p.m. The Hell Yeah Babies, Hell Yeah Baby, Avery Mandeville, Darian Rectangle, and Jay Ackley are at the Windjammer at NYC at 8 p.m. I'll be there. My friend Brian will be there. Alpha Rabbit, Calm Down, Familiar Spaces, Houston, and the Dirty Rats are at the Mill Hill Basement at 8:30 p.m. Francie Moon and James Abbott are at the Airport Pub at 9 p.m. That's not CBGB's in Newark Airport, apparently. Above the Moon, the Swiss Guard SOF are at the Asbury Hotel at 9 p.m. Soph, is it Soph, not SOF? I don't. Soph, come on, Soph. Come on. The Close Talkers will be playing 22 covers and 2 whole originals at Crosswoods at 9 p.m. I love that every time. Saturday, August 11th, the Close Talkers will be playing a special encore performance of those same 22 covers and 2 whole originals at John and Peter's at 3 p.m. Underwater Sounds and Ella Ross at the Danny Clinch Gallery at 4:30 p.m. Skyline, Village Green, Flora and Fang are at the Chubby Pickle at 9 p.m. And the final Making Waves summer concert at the Asbury Park Brewery featuring Terra Dente, the Cranston Dean Band, Goddamn Levy in the Oaks, the motherfucking Burns, and holy shit, the Paper Jets. I've never heard of them. If you're not at this show, which starts at 6 p.m. and costs an extremely moderate $5 to attend, what is wrong with you? And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Palmerton himself, Joe Pomarico.
All right, I'm gonna play my favorite song by Eric Huda. Losing perspective of the ground as a plane passes overhead. A trailing cloud of white walks the way like the churned up path of a boat on the bay. I've been told I'm lost in my own space. I need to get back to a world that's real. To the rest of you, but I'm not sure that's what I need. A world that's real. To the rest of you, but that's a foreign world to me. To drift, daydream on, climbing up mountains, running through fountains, swimming through oceans and causing commotions. I've been told I'm lost in my own space. I need to get back to a world that's that's what I need. A world that's real to the rest of you, but that's a boring world to me. Because the days are short and the nights are long, we don't have much time to play along. So let's have a little fun for a while in our minds before we die. Thank you. All right. This one is for everyone's favorite redhead. Is that me? No, not you, Chris. I don't know what's up with your hair. But how about the Hell Princess that you play for? Joey Henderson? Yeah, that one. Now I don't hardly know her, but I think I could love her. Crimson and clover. Here she come walking over. I've been Yeah. My, such a sweet thing. I wanna do everything. What a beautiful feeling. Crimson and clover. Crimson and clover, over and over. Crimson and clover, over and over. Crimson and clover, over and over. Crimson and clover, over and over.
That was the best cover I have
Thank you.
ever heard. Thank you so much for coming on.
I always forget how long that song is.
Joe Pomarico, Dan Drago, for Chris Dubrow, broadcasting from the Asbury Park Music Foundation. I have been, and I remain Brian Erickson. We'll see you next week.